Khamzat Chimaev is the talk of the MMA world at the moment, and after passing his first real test this past weekend against Gilbert Burns, the focus now turns to his next opponent. Recently, he called out middleweight king Israel Adesanya, and Izzy has since responded, alluding to the fact that Boers still has a lot to do before fighting him. Stay tuned, as today we are discussing Khamzat's call-out and Adesanya's response. First up, what did Khamzat do? Stay with us to find out. The hype train is well and truly on the tracks vis-a-vis Khazmat Chimaev after last weekend's win over Gilbert Burns, and one man who will have been watching with interest was Israel Adesanya, owner of some of the most cringeworthy videos on the whole of the internet at the moment. Adesanya scored a 5-round decision win over Robert Whittaker back in February, and Chimaev had his own views on Stylebender's performance. He wrote on social media that the Adesanya fight would be easy money for him due to his lack of wrestling. As we saw on Saturday, however, there wasn't much wrestling on show during the Burns fight, so if he stands in front of Adesanya, who is one of the best strikers in the entire UFC, it could be an early night for the Russian-born Swede. Chimaev went on to say that he is gonna kill him. Khamzat seems to be everywhere at the moment and has become famous for claiming that he will smash that guy, in reference to pretty much everybody. He has also been involved in one of the most wholesome romances in the history of MMA after he and Darren Till have started training together and are seemingly inseparable at the moment. Till has had his own run-ins with Adesanya in the past and recently incurred the wrath of Izzy after celebrating with Tom Aspinall atop the cage after his win against Alexander Volkov. What do you make of Khamzat's call-out? So, how did Izzy respond? Let's see. Never one to appear overly flustered, Adesanya remained calm when asked about the Chimaev call-out and seemed utterly unconcerned. Following the call-out after his win over Whittaker, Adesanya poured cold water on the idea that the pair might be set to fight, claiming that Chimaev is yet to show him anything. He said, "This guy fights at welterweight. He's fought at middleweight one time, and he fought a low-ranked guy. He definitely can beat some middleweights, but I'm like, show me something. Show me something. His last fight was impressive. I might not like you, but if I'm impressed by what you do, I'll give you props. He's a beast, but he's a beast at 170. Following his impressive win over Burns at the weekend, one which could have easily ended with him knocked out, might we add, Adesanya's stance could easily have changed. However, when asked about Chimaev potentially coming to middleweight to take his title, Adesanya referenced how when a dog barks at the moon, that's normal, but when the moon barks at the dog, that's something special. We guess he's the moon? Adesanya is clearly one of the best strikers right now, and is head and shoulders above anyone in the middleweight division, so Chimaev would surely need to listen to his words and show him something special if he is to get a middleweight title fight in the near future. Who do you have if these guys ever face off? Let us know. More Izzy news now. Stay tuned. You might have noticed when watching Israel Adesanya's fights that he never touches gloves before a fight, instead choosing to place his hands on top of his opponent's gloves. The gesture is seen as one of sportsmanship, so why does the Nigerian Kiwi not indulge his opponents in the usual manner? The champ was recently talking on Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing podcast, and he confirmed that he never touches gloves at the start of each fight, saying, "That's the first point of contact. You establish the range right away. I don't want to touch gloves. I'll establish the range my own way. I don't want to give them an inch at all." A seemingly innocuous gesture surely can't give off that much of an advantage to a fighter, can it? Well, according to Adesanya, it can. Izzy is expected to fight the dangerous Jared Cannonier next time out, so it will be interesting to see if he eases up on his stance of not touching gloves at the start of the fight. A case of watch this space. Next up, Izzy has weighed in on training partner Alexander Volkanovski. Stay with us. As you probably know, Adesanya and Volk both train at City Kickboxing over in Auckland, New Zealand, and the pair, of course, are both current UFC champions in the middleweight and featherweight divisions respectively. And Izzy has this week given his thoughts on who he sees as the greatest featherweight of all time, and no prizes for guessing who he thinks is top of the tree. Yep, you guessed it, it's his teammate Volkanovski. The Great has destroyed all comers so far during his reign as champ and is currently 24-1, which in MMA is insane. And Adesanya believes he has now surpassed featherweight legends such as Max Holloway and even Brazilian Jose Aldo. Volk is undefeated in the UFC and has barely ever even looked in trouble, bar an incredible escape from a Brian Ortega guillotine. Adesanya said, standout fight of UFC 273, Volkanovski of course. The GOAT, the featherweight GOAT. Yeah, I'm hyped right now. I haven't even had breakfast. I couldn't eat because my adrenaline's been running. Volkanovski, I said it was going to be bad, it was bad. And it's hard to disagree with Izzy's assessment. Volkanovski literally blew the zombie away last weekend, and the fight wasn't even close. Who would you say is the featherweight GOAT? Give us your thoughts and opinions below. Jared Cannonier has been speaking about his upcoming date with Izzy now. Stay with us. After getting past Derek Brunson last time out via a vicious KO in the second round, Jared Cannonier is expected to next fight for the title against Israel Adesanya, and the Killer Gorilla expects an easy night's work. Cannonier turned Blonde Brunson into Blood Brunson last time out, and on the same card, Izzy was taken the distance by Robert Whittaker. Of course, nothing has been announced just yet, but that hasn't stopped Cannonier giving his predictions on how he thinks the fight will go down. He said recently that he certainly lived up to his prediction versus Brunson, and he went on to explain that he is going to turn Izzy Adesanya into Easy Adesanya. He said, "I've heard through the grapevine that it's going down. I am next." Izzy is also a man of his word. From what I've seen, he also has the ability to choose his fights, and he's chosen me as if I'm sort of Pokemon or something. Hey man, whatever it takes for me to get in there and get my shot at the title, I'll put on that little Pikachu costume and go in there and shock the world. Cannonier would almost certainly go in as an underdog, as Adesanya is yet to lose in the UFC's middleweight division, so we're not sure it will be as easy as Cannonier suggests, but confidence can be a key weapon in MMA, so who knows? What do you guys make of Jared's comments? And finally, Izzy has had his say on Jon Jones. Adesanya and Jones have a long history of beefing back and forth, and in the latest twist in the war of words between the pair, Izzy has suggested that he now feels sorry for his former detractor. The pair's long-running and bitter feud appears to have calmed in recent months, and following Jones' never-ending struggles, Adesanya appears to have eased off. Jones was arrested again last year following a domestic disturbance at a Las Vegas hotel, and the incident proved irresistible for Adesanya at the time, as he was one of the first to throw shade at Jones. But he has since eased off, and on Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing podcast, Adesanya said there was a clip like this of him getting arrested, talking to the officer on a first-name basis, and I remember just thinking, I was like, man, I feel sorry for him. Adesanya went on to describe how watching Jones when he first broke through was incredible, saying that he was special and that he was a big fan of Jones. He also suggested that Jones was a fan of him until he realized he wanted to fight him. But Izzy, who seems to have matured a little, finished by saying, "I'm empathetic. I'm a human being." I'm like, man, what a waste. What a waste of potential. And he is right. Jones' struggles over the past few years are sad to see, and it begs the question, what could he have been if he'd stayed the straight and narrow? Undisputed greatest of all time, no question. As always, thanks for dropping by, and remember to stop by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not do us a solid and like and share today's video, and remember to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Bye guys!